All right, what's going on, everybody? Back again today doing, I think, my fifth video in my kind of like nerd collectible series, just trying to, help demonstrate to people like the different kinds of things out there for all the different fandoms that you can collect and buy. For anyone who's ever been into that kind of thing. And today, as you can see, we're talking about Star Wars The Black Series. And just for clarification, we are talking about the 6-inch series of figures made by Hasbro for Star Wars characters. So let's go ahead and dive into it. A little bit of a preface though, I used to collect these and I stopped and I sold all the ones that I had. Now, why I stopped and sold them off and I still don't to this day don't collect them, we will get into that at the end. It's a very personal reason and a lot of people are going to think it's a very stupid reason, but it just irked me and it bothered me to the point where I just really didn't want to keep collecting the line. I will say this though, I have been seeing a resurgence in the line in that there are a lot of characters and figures out there being made and they look awesome and they seem cool and I kind of still want those characters, but it'll make a whole lot more sense once we just get to the end of this and I tell you my reason for not collecting it. But I did used to collect them. I think I had about 20 of them at one point in time before I decided to stop. So I do have experience with this line. I know what the ins and outs of it are. So let's just go ahead and get to it. But this is going to be another one of those videos where I show you through a slideshow, kind of like how I did with my DC Multiverse by McFarlane Toys. It's just easier that way because, well, for this one I actually just don't have any of the figures. But yeah, right off the bat, the biggest pro about this line, which I will say for pretty much all the lines that are out there to collect. If it's a popular toy line to collect, it's probably got this thing going for it, this attribute, which is the sheer quantity of characters. Every single character you could possibly imagine is in this line. I chose these three pictures because I think they demonstrate that. You see a good variety of characters, and then you also see uh, figures that are not really characters so much as they are just figures. Like there's stormtroopers back here. Those stormtroopers are not really characters in the same way that like Captain Phasma or Anakin is a character, but they make you your stormtrooper figures. And then I think these three pictures also show you that not only do they give you every character imaginable, they give you every variation of that character imaginable. You can see here in this picture, there's a New Hope Luke Skywalker. There's Battle of Hoth Luke Skywalker. There's Empire Strikes Back, dueling Vader on Bespin, Luke Skywalker. Right here, if you can make it out, there's Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker. They have every variation imaginable. They've made multiple Han Solos, multiple Obi-Wan Kenobis, multiple Chewbacca's, just literally everything. If you look at this picture right here, this is a stock photo simply for advertisement purposes. This is not a picture of the actual figure. But this figure, it's either being made or it is already made and hitting stores. This is a figure of like Dark Evil Rey. This is a version of Rey, the character, we saw in one movie for like 5 seconds, and yet they're still making a figure of it. So that right there should tell you in this toy line you're going to get absolutely every character imaginable and every variation of every character imaginable. So you're not going to be left wanting for anything in that area. So the next thing about this is high quality. Uh, the departure from the normal size of Star Wars toys, which is like 3 3/4 inches, I believe. That's how tall Star Wars figures always were, all the way up from like this 1977 when the first movie came out, all the way up until this toy line. They were always small. But Hasbro, the company that makes these, they also make Marvel Legends in a 6-inch scale. And they thought to themselves, we already have all the tooling and the engineering of the different parts worked out to make highly articulated 6-inch scale figures. And if we make Star Wars, we already have the license for Star Wars. If we start making 6-inch scaled, highly articulated Star Wars figures, we can also bring more detail to them. So, and that's exactly what they do. I picked this picture of the Mandalorian prior to him getting his armor, his Beskar armor, because I think it really shows off all these categories in terms of quality that I'm talking about here. You can see it's very well painted. They've got even the parts that are supposed to be mistakes they're added in there. So the paint detail is fantastic. It's well sculpted. All the different pieces of the armor are sculpted on, but they do Like they're like additional parts to the toy. They're not just like a painted on part of his arm or leg. They're actually, you can feel them. They're sculpted on there. And then the good amount of extra detail. We're talking about the damage, the little pock marks on the chest plate, the scratches and the scrapes that are sculpted and detailed into the toy. That gives it a lot of extra value, and I think that's one of the best things about this toy line. And then another thing you have to look forward to in this toy line is a good amount of quality control. In terms of like the 20 of these figures that I did collect, I never got one that had like that was I opened it up out of the box and like the arm fell off, or one of the joints wouldn't turn, or sometimes you get a figure that's got a really stiff joint that if you try to turn it too hard you'll just tear the joint. I never had that happen. So it showed that they had a good amount of quality control going with these. So they are just really high quality overall, and that's definitely something to be appreciated. When it comes to articulation, as I said before, these came to be because of the success of Hasbro's Marvel Legends. When Hasbro brought Marvel Legends back in I think 2010 or 2011, that made them kind of think, okay, well, we already have the Star Wars license. Let's start making bigger Star Wars figures in the 6-inch scale, same as Marvel Legends. And they did that. And because it's the same company, they're both Hasbro, the different types of articulation and joints on the figures are the same. They use the same kind of hip joints, the same kind of knee joints. It's all the same. So if you're familiar with a Marvel Legends figure, standard 6-inch Marvel Legends figure, and the kind of articulation that it has, you're going to know what you're getting with the Star Wars Black Series. The same thing applies like with Marvel Legends. If you have a bigger character, some of the articulation might be limited, or if the character's outfit or armor that they're wearing kind of hinders articulation, that tends to happen in the Marvel Legends toy line. That also happens in the Black Series for Star Wars. It's basically the exact same thing. What you get articulation wise with Marvel Legends is the exact same thing you're getting with the Star Wars Black Series. Now, moving on to why I don't collect them anymore. Get ready, because like I said, it's a pretty stupid reason. Lightsabers look like Jolly Ranchers and not laser swords. Yeah, that's it. That's the reason why. Uh, we can sit here and argue all day, but the fact of the matter is, Star Wars is not Star Wars without Jedi, Sith, Force users in general, and lightsabers. You take the lightsaber fights out of Star Wars, it just becomes every other generic form of science fiction out there with laser gun fights and shit. The unique thing about Star Wars is lightsaber fights and the Force, and they go hand in hand. Like Jedi and Sith are the number one people who use lightsabers, and they're also the people who are using the Force. So it goes without saying that I really didn't see the point in collecting this toy line if I was not going to collect the Jedi and Sith characters. And I did not want to collect the Jedi and Sith characters because I thought the lightsabers just looked fucking stupid. Like, pardon my language, but this is some like I'm gonna take this opportunity to go ahead and address this. And God, I just hope that there's someone who works at Hasbro and has a lot of control over this shit, and they just happen to see this video. Jesus Christ, holy hell. Look at this. Like, this one right here. Now, granted, these are up against a black background, and some of them are more bright and vibrant than others, but even this one that's very vibrant and bright, you can definitely see it's bright red. It still doesn't look like a freaking laser. It's just a solid red, flat red thing. Like, and then this one over here is meant to have that like translucent blue color, but with putting it up against a black background, there's like no color here to it at all. It's supposed to be blue, but it's nothing. And then you can see here, if you put them against like a white background, they kind of look a bit better. But do they really look like laser swords? Do they look like energy weapons, like burning blades of plasma, or whatever the hell a lightsaber actually is? No, they look like someone took a Jolly Rancher and like whittled it down to where it was super thin, and then stuck it in with a Star Wars toy. They look terrible, and this is the exact same kind of shit that the toys, Star Wars toys, have had since the beginning, since 1977. This is how they did lightsabers. In the 30 to 40, how long has it been? 77. In all that time, no one has ever tried to come up with a better way to do like action figure lightsabers. and make them just look better and make them look more like lightsabers. I've had this debate with a lot of my friends, and they all think that I'm absolutely ridiculous for like this is why I don't collect the toy line. They think I'm ridiculous for it. A lot of them hit me with the counter argument of like, what do you want them to do? Like put like a mini light bulb in the handle with like a mini tiny battery and actually have the things light up? That's ridiculous. Like you'll never get something that small to be able to actually light up. Actually, this guy freaking did it. I don't know who did this, but this is definitely a Black Series figure. This is an SH Figure Arts Luke Skywalker, and I'm not sure which one this is. It's probably also Black Series. But as you can see, somebody did it. Mini light up lightsabers for the action figures. Now, in doing this, he was not able to give a whole lot of detail to the handles. Like they basically just look like flashlight handles. And also, the problem isn't completely solved with this, because as you can see with his Kanan's blue one against a blue background, it still doesn't really show up that much. And then these, the green one and the red one, against a blue background, they still just don't really look very vibrant. You know what I mean? Maybe if it was a white background, they would all, each color would look more, like the green one would look more green, the red one would look more red because it's just white behind it. But with the blue behind it, this green looks very flat and like, I don't know. It still doesn't look the way I want it to, like a lightsaber. It still does not look like a lightsaber, but at the same time, I'm still just happy that like there's at least some fan out there who's trying, who's like, you know what? We've been using the exact same kind of lightsabers for the toys since 1977, and they suck. And I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm not saying I know what it is to do. All I'm saying is what we have right now is not good enough, and we should start looking at some other ideas. So, yeah, on the just like the 1 in a million chance that someone from Hasbro is watching this, please start trying some new shit for the lightsabers. If I had to guess, I would say the best route for you to go is probably painting them. Like there's got to be someone out there who is such a great painter and they just know how to do it right, and they can make the blades of the lightsabers look like frickin' lightsaber blades just by painting them. I think that's got to be the way to go, but like I said, I really don't have the answer. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that there's a problem, and I'm trying to address that. So yeah, that's my rant about the lightsabers that come packaged with these figures. But as I said at the beginning, there's a lot of characters in the line now who are not Jedi or Sith, and they don't really use a lightsaber, but the figures of them actually still look really cool. And I'm really starting to think about getting back into the line and just getting some of those characters. But that's my take on this toy line. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, you probably are already aware of this toy line. If you're not, and you're just looking for a fun toy line to collect, this is probably the one for you. And if you're a Star Wars fan, or if you're just wanting to collect a toy line, and you're thinking, what am I a fan of that I could actually like it would make sense for me to collect, and you land on, oh, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan. Well, here you go. This is the one for you. And yeah, so that's my take on this toy line. Take it for what you will. Please check out my other videos. Hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel, please. Check out the Facebook page, The Chad Nerd. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.